Hey everyone, it's Matt, aka Tech Ranger, and today we're going to be taking a look at Skyrim once again, specifically some mods that you might be interested in, but I'm also probably going to add into my bigger list once I reinstall all of that. I'll look at a water texture mod or a bundle, a lighting mod, as well as a perk mod, one of which actually has a different version that I'm probably going to be using for the bigger list. So if you don't want to miss that, feel free to subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions, and leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video. But with all that, let's take a look at some of these cooler mods that I found and see if it's something worth trying yourself. First mod I want to take a look at in this video is Skyrad's Relighting Skyrim with Windows Shadows and FX. I'll talk about another version of this one at the end of this section. The changes when you read them don't seem all that drastic, but the actual effect is pretty drastic. You all probably know if you watch the channel, I've used enhanced lights and FX for pretty much since the beginning of my modding journey in Skyrim. This particular mod is a bundle of a few different mods, one of which is Relighting Skyrim. So light sources in the game, they'll act a little bit more naturally, there's going to be some shadows, and then the lighting will make more sense if you're like in a cave or like a darker area, but at the same time will also seem a little bit more realistic, but it also won't be particularly dark in certain areas for better or worse. Curious to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below, mainly because I haven't really had a lot of experience messing around with other lighting mods, and the ones that I did, I would have issues with. I think this bundle from Skyrad will probably appeal to the most people, but there are some more drastic versions of this mod, or some different flavors, one of which is the Tenebrous Gaslighting edition. I've also messed around with this one a bit, and the performance seems good with both of these, so obviously you don't want to use both of them at the same time. You want to pick one or the other. I've went about several hours with one, so I'm going to try this one out for a little bit longer and see which one I like more between these two. Depending on the lighting in a particular room, I did kind of notice some shadows being kind of weird on some of the characters. It's not a big deal for me, but just wanted to mention it. The end result might not be to everyone's liking, but that's why I wanted to bring this one up in this section. There's a lot more shadows, it's a lot darker, but it almost kind of brings a gritty look to the game, which I really like. However, depending on what you're playing on, if your TV or monitor is not super bright, this can be kind of hard to see at times. So after the creations update, there was a lot of issues with UI menu mods, and there were some new ones that were uploaded or re-uploaded, and one of those is Untarnished UI, and this one is really cool. It's got a pretty clean interface, but it does still keep the vanilla interface. This version right here, the Untarnished UI reworked, we'll look at in a future video, but it uses this Futuro Book BT font, so it changes all of that. You got a new main menu screen as well, and you'll see those kind of leaves or sparks in the loading screen. When you're in game, the compass at the top has been changed, kind of streamlined and very like clean look. When you bring up the menu, you'll see some new icons, but as far as the inventory itself, it's what you're used to, just a nice clean look. When sneaking around, that actually gets moved to the bottom of the screen, which is not amazing, but it's there. It can be hard to see, but when you're discovered, when the eye opens up, it's pretty easy to see. Another difference here is that the enemy health bar is in the same place, but your stuff is going to be in the top left rather than the bottom left. You'll see the same rectangle bar style when you're lockpicking and even when you're actually looking at your skills in the skill menu, and I actually really like the font change here. A notable thing that's missing from Nordic UI, which I used to use, is that there was a version of a Pastel Map Markers within that mod. This one does not have it, so you're going to see those white icons again. If you like colored map markers, you can download the Pastel Map Markers. I really like these, and just place it underneath anything modifying maps in your load order or just underneath this mod, and you should be good to go. Really liking this one so far, and we'll look at that different version when I actually reinstall everything for that bigger list update. Having a mod to change water textures isn't super necessary, but there's always like a way to plus the water or make it look a little bit more natural. I would usually have at least 2 mods dedicated to water in my list, but with this one you just need one because it actually is a bundle of a few different ones. This is Pauly's Very Attractive Water, and it's a combination of 3 main mods: smooth water texture, cathedral waters, as well as blended shorelines, so you're not seeing the seams where the water meets the shore. As you can see there, I was still seeing the seams. I tried moving this mod further up in my list just to see if that would make any difference, but I was still seeing the seams, so let me know if you find out any different. Even with that, I still really like the mod, so I think it's worth checking out if you were looking for something else, although there are a lot of other water texture mods out there. This could be one of those bundles that may not work for everyone's list, kind of depending on what landscape texture mod you might have, but for me, I generally use something like Fantasia or Skyland a lot. We'll probably switch that up at some point, and I think it looks pretty sharp. The last mod I wanted to talk about is the efficient perk overhaul. I found that with Skyrim, I ended up going towards the route of using something like Adamant with Mysticism, and I found that I didn't really use either Mysticism or really care that much for Adamant. Not that it was a bad mod, just because there were just so many things to put perk points into. It just kind of became more of a chore whenever you got that level up and a perk point to spend. With the efficient perk overhaul, its goal is to basically reduce the number of points that you're putting into things, and that way you can kind of focus on leveling up the skills just naturally in game rather than just using perks to buff your character. I mean, you're still going to do that, but in this case, those skill level perks, like the ones that just kind of incrementally increase your power in a certain area, those will just level up naturally as you level up those skills in the game. And you'll see the same logic applied to things like smithing. You're not going to have to go light or heavy. There's enchanting as well as alchemy, although I admit in almost 15 years of Skyrim, I haven't really messed around with alchemy that much. But if you do end up wasting a perk here or there, you can reset all of your perk points, and then if you want to uninstall this mod at some point, you could actually craft a potion in order to reset everything. I found that with a new game, you're not using as many perk points, so it's definitely not a FOMO type situation where you have only 1 perk point and you're like, dang it, I really should have used that for lockpicking, but I didn't because I used it for this instead. And that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. This was kind of similar to that one video I did with Skyrim and the greenery mods where I kind of went on a journey because it took a little bit to actually find them and determine that, yeah, I do want to talk about those specifically. Like this video originally started off as like 5 mods to transform your game, and then I just ended up reinstalling my list basically. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.